Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Good
Rabbi.
morning.
We are learning Mishna Nazir, Parak Chapter 5, Mishnah Dal and Mishnah 4. Okay. Mishna de Nazir. Somebody vowed to become a Nazir. V'halach lahavi es behemtai. And he went to bring his animals, meaning he went to bring his animals for the purpose of his sacrifices that he needs to bring. Umetza'a shenignava. And he discovers that it was stolen. Now, this person feels that, if I would have known that this animal would have been stolen, I never would have become a Nazir. That's the story here. He had these animals that he designated to be the animals for his karbanis. That's what he had in mind, whatever it is, whether he actually designated them with that or not, but he had it in mind. And now he finds that they're not there. And he wants to now get a heter. He wants to get an annulment from a sage on his vow. We talked about Ataris Nadarim, and that's possible to get a heter, to get an annulment of one's vows. And Naziris is a vow, so it's possible there also. And this is what he wants to do now. What he wants to do is, he wants to now go to a Chacham and tell the Chacham, ask him for an annulment of the vow. Now let me read to you here a little background. When someone makes a vow and wants to be released from it, he can ask a sage to annul the vow, a sage or a beis din of three, a rabbinical court of three. To do so, the sage must find some circumstance that the vower did not know or fully consider when he made his vow, which, if he had known it, would have prevented him from making the vow in the first place. You follow that? That is the mechanism of Hataras Nadarim. Basically, the Chacham has to find some kind of a circumstance that the person made the vow didn't know of or fully consider, and would he have known about it, he would have prevented him from making the vow in the first place, and if he can find that, he retroactively annuls the vow. Now, in this case, this person wants, and that's called a Pesach. That's what the term is called, a Pesach, an opening. Now, the Pesach here, that the sage is going to consider, is the fact that if he would have known, when he made the vow that the animal would be stolen, he never would have made the nether. And the Chacham says to the person, if you would have known this, would you have made the nether? And he says no. That would be the Pesach, the opening to annul the vow. Now here again, the case is that the Pesach, the opening to annul the vow, is the fact that the animal was stolen. So, the Mishnah reads, so again, he made the nether, he found it stolen. If we determine that he made the Naziris before the animal was stolen, got that? We determine that he made the Naziris before the animal was stolen. The animal was stolen after he made the Naziris. Harez a Nazir. He is a Nazir, which means the Pesach that we've been talking about will not work. Now let me read to you. Let me read to you how they explain this here. A person's vow can be annulled through an opening if he did not know everything relevant to the vow at the time he made it. This allows the sage to declare the vow a mistake in effect. Right? It was a mistake. That's the bottom line. In our case, however, the person did know all the relevant facts at the time he made the vow, because he still had his animals at that time. What are you going to say? I mean, he had the animals then. Even if he had thought about now, but what about if he would have thought about the possibility of being stolen? Even if he had thought about the possibility that they might be stolen, he still would have made the vow because he would not expect that to happen. Therefore, there is no basis to declare his vow a mistake, and it remains valid. Meaning this is called noilad, something born, a new factor that we say that, if this factor didn't exist at the time, so therefore, if it didn't exist at the time, we assume the person would have still made the vow. So now, being that this fact or this story, this occurrence about the animal being stolen is not that commonplace, therefore, you can't say that if he would have thought about it, if he would have considered the possibility of it at the time, he would never made the vow, because he would make, even if he thought about it, And he would think, well, maybe my animal is going to be stolen, and then I don't want to make this vow. If he would have thought about it, he would have still made the vow because it's not common. He would not have expected it, and therefore we don't have a Pesach anymore here on something that has yet to come. But when he made the Naziris. However, the Mishnah continues. But if, let's say, the animal was stolen when he made the Naziris, meaning he made the Naziris and he didn't know the animal was stolen, right? That means he's not aware of all the circumstances involved. Now, in this case, if he would have realized the animal was stolen when he made the Naziris, would he have done it? This guy says, I wouldn't have done it. And therefore, that would be a Pesach, would be an opening for annulment, ain't a Nazir. That's what Mishna says, he's not a Nazir, meaning now this is a proper Pesach, proper opening to be able to annul the vow. V'zu ta'os ta'on Nacham Hamadi k'sha'alu Nazira min ha'goyla. This was a mistake that Nacham Hamadi, a certain sage of Nacham Hamadi, was from Madai, made a following mistake. K'sha'alu Nazira min ha'goyla. When Nazirim came up to Eretz Yisrael from the exile, umatzu beis hamikdash charev, and they discovered the Beis Hamikdash destroyed. There were Jews living outside of Eretz Yisrael, and they made themselves Nazirim, which I find that fascinating, because they made themselves Nazirim outside of Eretz Yisrael, and Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. They finished their term. They brought their animals to be offered in the Beis Hamikdash, and they discovered the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. So now, again, we have a circumstance where, can we say to them, well, if you would have realized the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, you never would have made yourself a Nazir. Omar lahem Nacham Hamadi. So Nacham Hamadi said to them, Ilu hayisem yadim Beis Hamikdash charev. Hayisem Nazrim. Would you have known that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed? Would you have made the Naziris? Amru laylay. And they said to him, no, we never would have made it if we would have known. The Tirim Nacham Hamadi. So Nacham Hamadi was mad to them. He annulled their Naziris. When the matter came to the sages, Amru lay, they said to him, Kol shanazar at shleichar Beis Hamikdash Nazir. Anybody who made himself a Nazir, declared himself a Nazir before the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, remains a Nazir. The fact that would you have known that it's going to be destroyed is not enough of a Pesach. That's again Neilad. That's something that was not present at the time when you made the neder. It wasn't expected either that it should happen, and therefore it's not considered a Pesach, not considered an opening. But if they declared themselves a Nazir after the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, then we have to figure out, we have to know, chronologically, when did they make themselves into a Nazir or not? If they already declared themselves a Nazir once the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, ain't a Nazir, then he's not a Nazir, meaning then the Chachamim have a Pesach, an opening to annul the vow. Nacham, I'm just going to read here from the notes. Nacham Hamadi disagreed with the law taught early in the Mishnah. He held that even something unexpected that happens after a vow is made can be used as an opening. So that's the question that everything revolves around here. Something that did not happen yet, it was not expected to happen, can that become the opening to say, if you would have known that, would you have made the Nazir? You never would have made the Naziris? And if can you say that? That's what the question is. And the Chachamim said something that did not yet happen and was not expected. You cannot make it as a Pesach to say if you would have known about it or would have thought about it, that because of that, you would never have made the Naziris. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you. So